Hi there, this is tutorial 2 for the Edexcel Statistics 1 A-Level module, and it's on grouped data. And as always, this is going to be applicable to most other exam boards. If you're looking for further help, do check out youtube.com/Mr. Arnold's Maths. Okay, so as I said, we're going to talk a little bit about grouped data, in particular grouped frequency tables. And you'll see we have a couple of frequency tables here with some group data in it. Um, Now it's important that we understand how to work out boundaries and midpoints and class widths just for a little bit later on in the course. So I just want to bring these two type of tables to light. Um, Now if you look at this table here, you might think, oh, you've done something wrong because they seem to overlap. And um, it's not the case that there's a mistake here. All this means 20 to 25 means it could be as low as 20, could be less than or equal to the time, call it t, but it's definitely less than 25. So 20 less than or equal to t, less than 25. Now if we look at the table down here, this 13 to 15 and then 16 to 18 seems to have a gap in it. Now I'll explain that in due course, but let's have a look at the boundaries for this frequency table here. Now, all I do is consider what was the lowest bound of this class interval here. Well, the lowest bound was 20 and the highest bound was 25. The lowest bound here would have been 25, so it would have been 25 less than or equal to t, but less than 30. So the lowest bound would be 25, the highest bound would be 30, and so on and so forth. So we'd have from 30 to 35, etc. right the way down. The midpoint is gained by adding together the two boundaries and dividing by 2. Now in this case you can clearly see it's 22.5, but if you're just not sure and you don't believe me, let's just check it out. Adding together the lower bound plus the upper bound and then dividing the answer, and then dividing the answer by 2. And as you can see, that's 22.5. Second one is going to be 27.5, and again so on and so forth. The class width is the upper bound. I will highlight in green. So the upper bound, subtract the lower bound. So it's just a difference between the boundaries. So 25 take away 20 is 5. 30 take away 25 is also 5, and again so on and so forth. Now this table here, it says the time taken by a random sample to cycle 250 meters is measured to the nearest second, and it's given in the table below. Now if it was given to the nearest second, that means it could have been rounded. So if we look at this class interval here, the lowest boundary could have actually has been as low as 12.5, because if I rounded that to the nearest second, I would round up to 13. So the lowest bound could have been less than or equal to 12.5 could be less than or equal to the time, which could in turn be less than, well, how high could it have gone? It could have gone up as far as 15.499999, etc. But we'll just say it must be certainly less than 15.5, because it was 15.5. What would happen? You'd actually be in this class interval here. So let's write down some boundaries. The lowest bound here is 12.5, and the highest bound is 15.5. The lowest bound here could have been as low as 15.5, and the upper bound the highest bound would have been 18.5, but not including 18.5. 18.5, 21.5, and so on and so forth. Let's, just in case you're not sure, let's do another one here. This could have been as low as 24.5, less than or equal to the time, but most certainly less than 27.5. So in GCSE you actually would have seen class intervals given like this or like this, but now we have a shorthand way of doing it. So this is what you'll see at A level. So do bear these in mind. The midpoints again are found in the same way. 15.5 plus 12.5 divided by 2. So again, if you're not sure, let's just do it. 12.5 plus the 15.5 equals that, divided by 2, you get 14. So the midpoint is 14, and the class width is the difference between the boundaries. So 15.5 subtract 12.5, which is 3. And again, you can work them out if you wish. So have a go at these here, see if you can work out the boundaries, the midpoints, and the class width. So pause the video and I'll show you the solution in a second. Okay, hopefully you've managed to do those. So there's the solutions. Just mark them off, see how you did, just in case. That's a 0. Right, so now onto the business end of things, and that's finding the median. Now, in the textbook, it shows finding the median by doing something called interpolation, but interpolation has this nasty formula which, doesn't really seem to make a whole lot of sense. So I think there's a slightly easier way to do it, which I'm going to do my best to explain for you now. So let's take a look at this. So again, we've got a random sample of people who ran 200 meters, and we have the frequency table given here. We're asked, we need to find the median. So the first thing I want to know is, where is the median? So what person would be the median? Okay, and now as we know, the median is the middle person. So let's actually see how many people there is and then work out which person is halfway in between. So 1 and 5 is 6. So let's write down the cumulative frequency. So you got 1, we got 6, 6 and 9 is 15. 15 and 11 is 26, and 26 and 6 is 32. So we got 32 people. That means the middle person must be person number 16. Now, let's have a look at our cumulative frequency and see if we can work out where the 16th person is, because that would be really nice. And we have 15, then it goes to 26, so we're a little bit unlucky. But we've got 15 people here. I will need one more person. I need one more person to get that magic 16. So I only need one out of this whole group. So let's take a look at this interval here. So I'm now concerning myself with this here. Okay, now I know that this interval goes from 35 all the way up to 40. So the class width in total is 5. And that would be for a full 11 people. But I don't want the full class width for 11 people. I only want 1 out of 11. So that's the proportion of this class width I'm actually interested in. So I'm concerned with 1/11th out of that whole class width. That's 5. So I want 1/11th of that class width. And if I add on the lower bound, that will tell me exactly where that median time is. So let's bring up the calculator. I need to do 1 out of 11 times by the class width, which is 5. Let's put up some brackets here. We don't want the syntax error. And then I'm going to add on the lower bound, which gives me 35.5 to 3 significant figures. So the median equals 35, let's just double check that. Yeah, 35.5, and that's to 3 significant figures. And that, I think, is a far easier way to work out the median than using the complicated formula for interpolation. So let's look at another example just to really tidy this up here. So again, we're given a frequency table grouped, and it's our people who are cycling 250 meters measured to the nearest second. Now this is the important part about knowing about boundaries, and we want to find the median. So first of all, again, I'm going to work out a cumulative frequency because I want to know how many people we had taking part in this. So we have 13, and 6 gives me 19, and 5 gives me 24, and 3 is 27, and 1 gives me 28. And the middle person, median, must be the 14th. Now just bear in mind, if that was 29, it would be 14.5. So don't round anything when you work out the median in this case. Okay, so let's see, we want person number 14. Okay, at this stage here we've got 13, so I need one more person. So one more will give me that 14th, but that class width is here. So let's have a look. We're concerned with this one here. So let's draw it a little diagram to kind of represent what's going on. Now the important thing here is that the lower bound for this class interval is not 16. Remember, it was rounded to the nearest second, so the lowest bound is actually 15.5, and it goes all the way up to 18.5, and that means that the class width is a grand total of 3. So the class width is 3, and that was for 6 people. So that was for 6 people. Now, I don't want the whole class width. I only want one of those 6. So I want 1/6 of that class width, which is 3. So 1/6 times by 3, and then I'm going to add on my lower bound. Always add on the lower bound to get the median, 15.5. So let's bring up the calculator here. Well, 1/6 times 3 is a half, isn't it? And a half plus 15.5 is 16. So the median is 16 seconds. Okay, hopefully you managed to understand that. Let's give you a chance to try some now. So pause the video and see if you can work out the median for these two different questions. Okay, hopefully you've managed to do that. I'm going to bring up the solutions now, and I will briefly talk you through them just in case. So here was the first question. The median we worked out was at person number 18.5 because the grand total was 37, and 37 divided by 2 is 18.5. So if you notice here we had 16, which means I need 2.5 more. 2.5. So I need 2.5 out of the 9 multiplied by the class width, which is 10. Yeah, 78 take away 68 is 10. And then I'm going to add on the lower bound. That gave us 70.8. This one here, the median was at 30 because we have 60 people. The median is at the 30th person. At this point, I've got 19. I need another 11 of this group, but that group is worth 13. So if we, I suppose we can always bring up the little diagram again. The lower bound of this is 30.5. The upper bound is 35.5, and that was for a total of 13 people, and the class width was 5. Now I didn't want all 13 people, I only wanted 11, so I wanted 11 out of 13 times it by the class width and then add on that lower bound just like before, and that gives us a total of 34.7. Okay, so what you should be able to do now is complete exercise 2D from the Edexcel AS S1 book. Also, what I suggest is you look at this video here, which is on range and averages from a table from my GCSE videos, just to explain briefly how to find the mean from a grouped frequency table. I didn't really bother to go into that here because, well, it's something that you should know from GCSE, but just in case you need some help with that, that's where to find it. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you found the video useful, and I'll see you again sometime. Take it easy.